Crime 101. Oh my. Crime 101 is a 2026 film release. It is rated R and it runs 2 hours and 20 minutes. It is directed by Barry Layton and is written by Barry Layton based off the novel by Don Winslow. This is a film that, to me, sets the bar for this year's most slick thriller, crime thriller. Definitely for this year. An elusive thief eyeing his final score encounters a disillusioned insurance broker at her own crossroads. As their paths intertwine, a relentless detective trails them hoping to thwart the multi-million-dollar heist they are planning. So when we get to Crime 101, the bar is set pretty high. Heat is my favorite film in this genre. And so seeing the trailer to Crime 101 and then, actually, let's start back. Let's start with hearing the name, Crime 101. Oh, that sounds like a dope film. Okay, but then seeing the trailer and seeing who's involved with this project got me excited, got me excited for this film. I was glad to be watching it. Okay, and so we get to the point where the film starts. We meet Davis, which is played by Chris Hemsworth, and he's the thief, So at that point, we realize what he does. We don't necessarily know fully how he does it because the film kind of sets that up to a point where we see how he actually does the thieving. This Spence, or the guy that he does the jobs for, is played by Nick Nolte, and I'm glad to see Nick Nolte back doing films. That's his mode of operation. That's how he works. He sets up a job, and then he takes the diamonds or whatever he steals to Nick Nolte, and Nick Nolte gets the fun. We don't know a lot about Davis, but he's had a rough upbringing. Okay, and then as the time of the movie develops, we kind of meet the detective, which is played by Mark Ruffalo. He's kind of on his, he's a longtime detective, just not really moving up in the ranks. People look at him a certain way because he's not very, flashy. He's going through a rough marriage and it's just kind of like living a very mediocre life, or he's a mediocre detective. But he has this thought about these crimes that have been happening, these high-ticket jewelry thieves or thefts that are happening, but he can't connect the dots, and so he's just kind of floundering. And he has a partner that's younger than him and has a sense about who he wants to be, but it may include him going to the next level in the sense of changing partners. Then we have Halle Berry's character, who is Sharon. And, she's up there in age, but she's still, living life. I think she's working as insurance, at a firm where they do insurance for, high-ticket items and, security for people who buy these high-ticket items, right? But she's languishing. Again, this is another person that's languishing in life, not necessarily, she has aspirations, but the place where she's at, she's not able to fully do it because, she can't make partner, because where she's at, she's kind of, always overlooked, for the next young hot thing. So this is how the table is set for this film. It just gets even better from there. I mean, knowing the characters, how they should develop or want to develop, is key to this film in the sense that, it gives you the motivation why they do the things that they do. I think if there's really any critique that I would have for it, is I wish it was a little more gritty. Just a little more mess up, a little more, I can't necessarily explain, but a little more gritty, This film is very slick. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's very slick. It's Barry Lutton, the director, did a great job. It looks really great, but I just kind of wish it was a little more gritty. They have great they have great street scenes where they're driving in the car, and they actually do this little sound whenever we see Chris Hemsworth's car. That sounds like a prowling panther or some kind of tiger or something like that. And I think that's just kind of a nice little touch that they did in the sound. But overall, I enjoyed this film. I thought it was a very well put together, smart film. I think that's the main thing that I'll put out about this film is smart. All the characters do smart moves, or make smart moves. It's not like, one character is being dumb, and so it just kind of makes it easy to kind of make the film go this direction. They're all making smart moves for their best interest, and sometimes that best interest can kind of get you in trouble. For Crime 101, I'm giving this thing a solid 4.5. I felt this was a really enjoyable film. It's, like I said, about 2 hours and 20 minutes, so it does give you or allow you the opportunity to see the character development throughout the film. Like I said, there's some really good scenes. And I think one of the things that, for me, about this film, it kind of mirrors, in a sense, my favorite crime genre film, which is Heat. In the sense that, okay, in Heat they have Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and the best scene in the film is where the two characters come together and they talk. And so when I was watching this film, I said, they gotta have a scene where the detective and the thief have a conversation before he's even caught, or whatever, I'm not gonna give it away, but before he's about to do his next heist or whatever. There was a conversation. They had to have that in that film. So that has been my review for Crime 101, a Barry Lawton film, 2026. And yeah, if you like this review, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you have any comment about this film, in a sense, like maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't like it, maybe some things that I brought up that you didn't think were good, leave those comments in the comment box below. I will greatly reply and have a conversation with you on this, because I would like to talk about this film a lot more. So, like we always do this time, have a blessed day. I will see you on the flip side. Let's go!